kind to the stranger in yourself. Be kind to the part of yourself that you don't know.
Without ambition, without the need to connect to an audience, what is the motive for artists to work?
When you love something so much, it's not perceived as work.
And I always like to think of myself as kind of an anthropologist in a way, watching what goes on.
My job is to simply try and report on the facts.
I didn't have any desire to do anything other than sing. That's all I knew how to do.
There's no better story than a story you don't know the ending of a man changing his life, and you identify with it immediately.
I like people, and I like asking questions of people, and I'm insatiably curious.
It's always funnier to write about bad sex that doesn't work out.
Well, he's a paradoxical kind of figure. That's what makes him so fascinating to people, and he's practically Shakespearean.
You cannot be panicked because you're behind. You're never behind.
And it's in the complexity of it that the beauty of it arises.
And I was a purr from the get-go. I was always looking in windows. Still am.
And that's, I think, a bigger lesson about faith, that a lot of us don't trust our own faith.
The journey is about reaching the end, but for people like me, the journey is about the journey.
And you see a blacksmith as he is forging steel. You're basically beating up that steel to make that steel, the iron that you're hitting, stronger. The amount of beating he had to go through emotionally, physically, finally, over time, made him the knight, the strongest that he could be.
That's a very good metaphor. I think that's really well observed.
Is there something outside of our known universe that we're aware of that does what we would call transcend the universe? Which I guess in a religious aspect, someone might say that's God, but I don't want to, I'm not talking about a man with a beard, no offense, sitting in a chair. I'm just talking about conceptually. Are you guys thinking of what might transcend outside of the universe?
We are surrounded by a horizon. Out beyond it, we can have no contact with those things, and we might as well say, for our purposes, the universe ends there. But are there things out there beyond there? Certainly seems that way.
But there's a moment you take of his face, and something seems to be going on in his eyes. There's some sense of epiphany Nixon's having at that moment.
Thrilled you caught on to that scene, because no one ever talks about that scene, and it meant so much to all of us, the piano scene and the moment at the end of it, and no one else has highlighted that.
I have a note here. Don, he's a cross between Rod Serling and Leonard Cohen. Now I don't know why I put those two down, and I put it down there because
those are two heroes of mine. So I really
Are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I wrote that down because when I see him, I say he's got this persona of Rod Serling, but the poetry of Leonard Cohen. And there's a line, this is from Leonard, act the way you would like to be, and soon you'll be the way you act.
Do you know the name of the school teacher he was having the affair with?
I didn't write it down, but
Suzanne.
Was that from Leonard's song?
I always thought that she was a proto, that the year after she and Don were together, she'd probably be in the Village living with Leonard Cohen.
Oh, at the Chelsea Hotel.
Yes. On an unmade bed.
On an unmade bed. Oh my gosh. Betweenness is a very interesting concept that this book is about. All those things that lie between the things we are not so obviously aware of.
Absolutely. That's, as a matter of fact, that's the heart of the book. And I always think that's a wonderful metaphor for the imagination, that there are huge adjacencies and presences around every life that we can't see with the eye, but that we can viscerally and vitally connect with the imagination. And I think that's the whole region, that threshold of betweenness.
In all the shows that I've ever done, this has been the best. And I really mean that, because you don't get a chance to really talk about what's real. And this is the first for me.
Thank
you so much. I really am very fortunate to be here.
It's a very unique interview technique, and it's much more profound than you get in any other medium.
I have never had an experience quite like this. I mean, this discussion of the book has just been fabulous. You took it on such a level, and you talked about so many things that were so important to me. It was just great.
You're bringing people together to engage in dialogue, to promote understanding, whatever it is that their message may be, the need and the desire, the hunger and thirst for greater understanding of other cultures. It was an enormous pleasure to talk to you and just talk about other things that I think are directly related.
I'm Barry Kibrick. Keep revisiting and looking closely between all the questions, and we will be what we want to become.